Welcome back to Weekend Express, and we remain on that beat following up on the biting drought situation in the country. And in studio with us this morning is Benjamin Kiilu, who is the preparedness manager in the Disaster Management Operations Department at the Kenya Red Cross. And the Kenya Red Cross now has the Kenyans for Kenyan Fund drive, which seeks to raise 1 billion shillings to mitigate the effects of drought in the country. Many thanks for making time for us, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
All right. So talk to us about this campaign, Kenyans for Kenya Fund.
Yeah, I think Kenyan for Kenyan Fund is the campaign we are running for the current drought. There is a drought in most parts of this country, you know, with the failure of the short rains. October, November rains failed. And that was preceded even with the failure of the March, April, May last year. So we're having a situation where it's alarming. We have water shortages, we have food shortages in many parts of the country. So as Kenya Red Cross is our auxiliary role to the county government and the national government to actually come in to support the humanitarian needs in terms of food aid. So we are running several campaigns for this drought. We have one of them which is Embrace Our Family, which is you contribute 3,000 Kenya shillings that we estimate should be able to take care of one family for 1 month. This is according to the calculation, the rations that we look at, the basic components of a meal in a family for 1 month.
All right, so let's focus on that just for a bit, because thinking of 3,000 shillings feeding a family for a whole month, it sounds like a really low budget. So where does the 3,000 shillings go?
This is what we call from the assessments. We are looking at the common, what we call the basic basket, food basket in a family that will compose breakfast, lunch, and dinner, getting just the main ingredient.
So 3 meals a day?
Yeah, 3 meals a day.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right. So another issue has been, of course, the issue of nutrition. You give people maize and beans, they don't even have water to cook it with. Is it healthy for them? Will they be malnourished? So is all this catered for?
Yeah, I think this is catered. For example, when we look at a basic family package, for a meal, and even in our distribution for food rations. We have cornmeal, which is the starch. We have pulses, which produce the proteins. We have the oil, the cooking oil, which now brings the minerals that are required in the body. And we even have salt to give in the iodine and the rest of the... So it's a combo, as much as it looks simple, but the complete meal is composed in that package. Yeah.
And of course, we're doing this just to drum up more support to ensure that more Kenyans can come out to help those that are in need. So that is the Embrace a Family package. What other packages do you have?
We have a Skip a Meal initiative, where we're asking many Kenyans of goodwill, and many Kenyans who love this country and who love their brothers and sisters who are ravaged in these areas of Marsabit, Turkana, Baringo, Moyale, and all these parts. Please, if you can, skip a meal, and that part of that meal, that budget, now you can donate that to the Kenya Red Cross through the M-Pesa pay bill number, which is 10,000. It's a simple number you can't forget.
Yeah, 10,000.
You just go to your M-Pesa menu, then you just dial 10,000, and that amount for that the meal you are skipping, you just donate to the Kenya Red Cross. The sum up amounts will go in procuring food aid for these families. That's
a great initiative, because just skipping one meal could feed a family for what, a whole week perhaps?
It will depend on what is your meal in your budget. And you can skip as many times as you wish. It's not one. We're asking if you skip Monday, you can skip Wednesday, Thursday, and throughout the day, because we expect this to take a bit long until we expect the March, April rains, which the predictions are that they might not be even enough to bring back again the food we need. And even if they come in just the other day in March, we still have that period before the crops, the crops are mature and we have food in our stores.
So Embrace a Family, Skip a Meal, that's the second initiative.
Then we have a Drive a Mile. Yeah, if the issue is the much you can, you fuel your car, you are driving a mile, the more you go to home and back, the kilometers you drive in a day, then part of that portion you can donate to Kenya Red Cross.
Wait, how does that work?
This is an initiative where some of us are driving. You are driving from your home to workplace and back. Or you are driving from your workplace, your home to the workplace and back. That kilometers you are driving, what proportion of the amount of fuel can you donate to the Kenya Red Cross?
Right.
So this is how it works.
So those are the only 3 initiatives?
Yeah, for now that is what we are running, and that's what we are currently running with it. And the skip a meal and embrace a family is a big initiative. We are really asking Kenyans to come forward and support us with this.
All right, and of course, pastoral areas have been among the hardest hit in this drought, and Red Cross also has the Livestock offtake program. How does that work?
Yeah, this is what we call trying to save the family from total loss. They have their cattle, there is no pasture around, there is no water around. So if they continue, these animals are going to die.
Right.
We don't want families to lose all they have. So what we do with the development partners is we procure the cows or the goats, we buy. Once we buy, we are giving them a safety net. We are giving them the cash. They are not one, they are not losing. Then once we buy the animals, we slaughter them and distribute the meat to the same community. So they are getting the meat as part of the meal, which is okay, almost a day or two, but then they're also getting the cash, which now they can survive on buying their household items.
Right.
So it's a safety net just to ensure that if we don't buy, then they will end up losing everything. And then, of course, when it loses, there is no livelihood, and the coping strategies will be a challenge to them. Yeah.
All right, I mean, and even when we spoke last night, you were from one of these areas. Where were you?
This is Baringo area.
You were in Baringo, just solving this issue. So you guys don't sleep, basically.
Yes.
It's been just very fast paced since this drought situation began. But just doing some research, in 2013, Red Cross was working with communities, especially in northeastern, to try and prepare for the annual drought, but also break this cycle of dependency on food aid. 2013, that was 4 years back. How would you say Red Cross, how prepared was Red Cross when this drought came?
Yeah, I think one of the key things is, as Kenya Red Cross, we handle both short-term emergencies and also long-term developmental issues. And what we did, especially with the 2011 Kenyan for Kenyan initiative, yeah, part of the funds went to immediate needs, procurement of food and water truck and all that. But then part of that funding went into long-term developmental initiative, was to make sure that we cushioned some of these communities from extreme effects of this drought. One very successful initiative is a dam we constructed, a big dam we constructed somewhere in Baringo East called Chesimirion. Chesimirion Dam to date is the savior of the entire Tiati constituency, the Silare Hills, the Muguragu Clark, the Laruk area. All that is expansive area, both for animals and even for partly for human, is being used for that. So
they're benefiting from that in this drought?
They are benefiting from that dam. And everyone is saying, if it were not for that dam, the animals would not be anymore by this time.
Right.
So those are some of the initiatives we carried out that time, and we are seeing the results as we talk today.
So that's great. Rehabilitation of boreholes and, just water harvesting.
Yes.
Are you planning to expand this, especially to the regions that are now hardest hit by the drought?
Yeah, we are still planning to do more boreholes, rehabilitation of boreholes, because this is quick. Some of the boreholes are existing. It's only that maybe the harvesting system, the pumping system is down. And we are planning to do this more in parts of Marsabit, parts of Turkana, parts of Baringo, and parts of Garissa, and those areas. Those are affected by the drought. Yeah.
Now, of course, most of your projects and initiatives are done through funding, especially donor funding and well-wishers. But there's been a lot of talk, especially from the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Joseph Nkaiseri, that there should be a special kitty just to fund disasters. But how has Red Cross been surviving so far?
We have been surviving by the goodwill of our donors, but mostly Kenyans have been able to support us a great deal. We have a very successful initiative sometimes years back with the Kenyan to Kenyan initiative.
Right.
We had other initiatives like when we had the Washinda program. We have so many other programs that Kenyans by themselves will contribute 10 shillings, 100 shillings, 1,000 shillings, 10,000, millions of shillings through the corporate. So as much as we're also dependent on our donors, Kenyans themselves, through the individual contributions and corporate contributions, have been able to come in strongly and really support us in this initiative. And we are still making also that appeal to every Kenyan of goodwill. We love our brothers and sisters. I've just come from Baringo and other areas. I was in Turkana the other day. I was in Marsabit the other day. There is their need just to put a square meal on the table. There are children there. There are women there out there. They have no hope. There is no water. There is no food. In the sky, is blank. The horizon is not there. I'm giving a call to many Kenyans. Please come out, skip a meal, donate to Kenyans, embrace a family, drive a mile. All this collection will go in a very big way in bringing food to the table, water to the table for these brothers and sisters of ours up in the north.
Yeah, so 10 shillings, 5 shillings, 20 shillings,
anything.
All of it counts.
Cumulatively, it will now make us some impact. So whatever you have, it doesn't matter, 5 bob, 10 bob, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, please remember that mother, remember that child, remember that other Kenyans in that part of that country who has not taken breakfast today. He has no sure whether he will take the dinner, no sure. Some cannot even remember the last time they took a meal.
And I mean, I understand it's a really hard time to be a parent in these regions, considering, I mean, just watching your children go to bed hungry, there's nothing to cook for them. But it's also important that for those of us who aren't quite experiencing those harsh effects of the drought, to understand the emotion that it evokes. You've been doing this for quite a while. I mean, talk to us about some of these situations that really touched your heart.
I think one of these situations that really touched my heart is when I walked up in Turkana and we were walking in this area, Kamunga area, and really looking at a mother who was coming to the food distribution center with one of the kids. But then talking to her was like, I still have other 2 kids I have left behind because they could not walk as fast as I can to come to this food distribution center. And for me, I was really like, in the wilderness, no, there is no tarmac, there is no electricity, it's just forest.
Right.
No sun, no water, no food. He's talking of yesterday. He get the rations from Kenya Red Cross. He's going back, really maybe to look for also water to cook for this food. And then that is the only hope that mother has for those kids. And that is just one of the many we never met on that particular day. So I'm actually appealing to all Kenyans of goodwill. It's that touching. It's that feeling you have for your neighbor, you have for your sister, for your brother, to come out in large numbers and actually help Kenya Red Cross put a meal on the table of these fellow Kenyans in the north. And we didn't expect rains. If the rains are failing again in March, April, May, then we are seeing all the way to December. And it's going to be a devastation. These are areas where it's flare back. When you see soil, the interpretation is when you get to a school field, the football pitch. You remember your football pitch in primary, which had no grass. It's bare soil. Now, look at that situation where it's bare soil, and then up is blue sky until they meet somewhere and no hope. No tree, no human life, no animal, nothing else. And you are standing there all by yourself.
So sometimes even having money in these regions really doesn't help you because there's nothing to buy.
Yeah. Sometimes as Kenya Red Cross, we have various interventions. There are areas that are actually in their need of water. We'll go there and rehabilitate the boreholes. There are areas that actually the markets are working, but only the purchasing power of the communities are not there.
High.
Because they might, the animals, they have lost all their animals, they have lost all their livelihoods, but the area market, they could walk there and they will send cash to those people through a program we call the cash transfer programming, where we give 3,000 per family for 1 month. We have done this in many areas. We have done this Baringo East, we have done the first batch. In Tana River, we have done the second batch, second round of second month. In Kilifi now, we are almost ready now going to do the third batch. So that is where markets are working. There are areas where there is no hope. There is no market, there is no structure, there is nothing. That's where now we take the physical food, and that's what we do. So we look at it intervention on those areas. We also have interventions in the health sector. We do the medical outreach, medical evacuation, medical referrals, and we also do nutritional screening.
Great, and that's what I want us to focus on in just a moment. The medical factor, the nutrition issue, especially now in the wake of the doctors' strike. Now, the drought situation in Kenya has affected not just the human population, but the livestock population as well, with up to 5% livestock mortality witnessed in the country. In our continuing Drought Diaries series, Sharon Momanyi paints a picture of the plight of livestock in the ongoing drought. Take a look.